Welcome to the Stuffology Show, where we unravel the stories behind the stuff that shapes our world. Today, we're diving into the history of the bicycle, that two-wheeled wonder that's more than just a way to get around. It's a symbol of freedom, a spark for social change, and a testament to human ingenuity. From clunky wooden frames to sleek e-bikes, the bicycle's journey is packed with quirky inventors, daring riders, and moments that reshaped how we live. So, let's hit the road and explore how this simple machine rolled into history. It's the early 19th century, and getting around is a slog. If you're not trudging through mud on foot, you're dealing with horses, great for some, but they're costly, leave messes, and require constant care. Europe's in the thick of the Industrial Revolution, with steam engines and factories popping up, and people are itching for faster, easier ways to move. In 1817, a German baron named Karl Drais steps up with a wild idea: the loft machine, or running machine. Picture a wooden frame with two wheels, no pedals, just you pushing along with your feet like a kid on a balance bike. They called it the dandy horse, and it was the first steerable, human-powered vehicle. Aristocrats went nuts, zipping around fancy gardens, showing off their shiny new toys. It wasn't just a rich person's plaything, though. It hinted at a future where humans could move without animals. The dandy horse wasn't perfect. It weighed a ton, had no suspension, and cobblestone streets made every ride a teeth-rattling adventure. Pedestrians weren't thrilled either, dodging these speed demons in crowded towns. Some places even banned them, calling them a public nuisance. But Drais's invention was a spark. It proved you could balance on two wheels and steer, planting the seed for every bicycle that followed. By the 1820s, the craze faded, but inventors across Europe were already tinkering, dreaming of ways to make this idea faster, smoother, and less likely to bruise your backside. The dandy horse was a start, but it was missing something big, which was pedals. Fast forward to the 1860s, and a French carriage maker named Pierre Michaud has a light bulb moment. Why scoot when you can pedal? He attaches crank pedals to the front wheel of a bike-like contraption, and the velocipede is born. Nicknamed the Bone Shaker, it lived up to its name. Wooden frames, iron wheels, and no suspension meant you felt every bump, jolt, and pothole. Riding one on a dirt road was like signing up for a full-body workout with a side of chiropractic visits. Still, people loved it. Velocipedes sparked a cycling craze across Europe and America, with riding schools opening to teach folks how to balance these clunky beasts. Newspapers called it a mania, with young men racing through parks and showing off their skills. But the Bone Shaker had a flashy cousin waiting in the wings: the high wheeler, or penny farthing, which rolled onto the scene in the 1870s. Picture a massive front wheel, sometimes 5 feet tall, and a tiny back wheel like a unicycle's awkward sibling. The bigger front meant more distance per pedal, pure physics, but it came at a cost. These things were dangerous. One bad move, and you're tumbling headfirst in what riders called a header. They were also expensive and hard to climb onto, requiring a mix of athleticism and sheer stubbornness. Yet, daring young men ate it up. They raced penny farthings, toured countryside roads, and formed cycling clubs to flex their two-wheeled swagger. Women, though, were mostly left out. Those giant wheels and long skirts were not a great combo. The penny farthing era was a wild, wobbly spectacle, but it showed the world that bicycles could be more than a gimmick. They were here to stay, even if they needed a serious safety upgrade. The high-wheeler's reign was short-lived, because by the 1880s, inventors were ready to make bikes safer and more practical. Enter John Kemp Starley, an English engineer who looked at those towering penny farthings and thought, there's got to be a better way. In 1885, he unveiled the Rover, the first safety bicycle. It had 2 equal-sized wheels, a chain drive to power the rear wheel, and a diamond-shaped frame. Basically the blueprint for every modern bike. The chain meant you could pedal efficiently without a giant wheel, and the lower center of gravity made it way less likely to send you flying. Suddenly, cycling wasn't just for acrobatic daredevils. It was for everyone, men, women, even kids. Factories started churning out safety bicycles, and by the 1890s, a bike boom swept the world. This wasn't just about getting around. It was a cultural earthquake. Bikes were affordable, thanks to mass production, and they gave people freedom to travel farther and faster without horses or trains. For women, bicycles were a revelation. They could explore cities, commute to work, and ditch restrictive corsets for bloomers, loose pants that shocked polite society but made riding possible. Susan B. Anthony, the suffrage icon, called the bicycle the freedom machine because it let women escape the confines of home and social norms. Bike clubs sprang up from London to New York, where riders swapped stories, raced, and planned group tours. Cities saw their first traffic jams, not from cars, but from cyclists clogging the streets. The bicycle was rewriting how people lived, worked, and played, and it was just getting started. As the 19th century turned into the 20th, bicycles kept evolving. One game changer was the pneumatic tire, invented by John Boy Dunlop in 1888. Air-filled rubber tires replaced solid ones, making rides smoother and faster. No more bone shaker vibes. Gears, coaster brakes, and lightweight steel frames turned bikes into practical transport for workers, students, and adventurers. During World War I, armies used bicycles for everything from delivering messages to moving troops. Picture soldiers pedaling through muddy battlefields. Bikes were that versatile. World War II kept the trend going, with paratroopers even using foldable bikes to drop behind enemy lines. The Swiss Army, believe it or not, kept bicycle regiments until 2003, proving two wheels could hold their own in a world of tanks and jeeps. The bicycle's role wasn't just practical, it was cultural. In the early 1900s, bikes became a symbol of modernity. Kids rode them to school, workers pedaled to factories, and families took Sunday rides in the countryside. Racing became huge, too. The Tour de France, launched in 1903, turned cyclists into superstars, with grueling races showcasing human endurance and cutting-edge bike designs. Meanwhile, cycling clubs weren't just for fun, they were political. In Europe, socialist groups used bike rallies to spread their message. While in America, African-American cyclists like Major Taylor broke racial barriers, dominating races despite prejudice. Bikes were leveling the playing field, giving people of all backgrounds a shot at mobility and fame. The mid-20th century saw bikes become a global staple, but the 1970s brought a new twist: the mountain bike. Born in Marin County, California, these rugged bikes with fat tires and sturdy frames let riders tackle dirt trails and rocky slopes. It started with a bunch of hippies modifying old bikes for downhill thrills, but by the 1980s, companies like Specialized and Trek were mass-producing them. Mountain biking became an extreme sport, with competitions like the X Games showcasing jaw-dropping stunts. At the same time, urban cycling was taking off. Cities like Amsterdam and Copenhagen built bike lanes, turning two wheels into a way of life. In developing countries, bikes were lifelines. Farmers hauled crops to market, kids rode to school, and doctors reached remote villages, all on bikes. The bicycle's impact kept growing. In the 1990s and 2000s, environmental awareness pushed cycling as a green alternative to cars. Bike-sharing programs popped up in cities worldwide, from Paris's Velib to New York City Bike. Then came e-bikes, with electric motors making hills and long commutes a breeze. By 2025, e-bikes are everywhere, with sales booming as people ditch gas guzzlers for pedal-assisted rides. Cargo bikes, built to carry groceries or even kids, are reshaping urban life, while high-tech road bikes with carbon fiber frames dominate professional racing. The bicycle's legacy is massive. It's a tool for independence, a weapon against climate change, and a spark for social movements. From Carl Drees's wooden contraption to today's sleek machines, the bicycle proves that simple ideas can roll far. Thanks for tuning into the Stuffology Show. Catch you next time with another slice of history.